Hi Aquarius, how's it going? I hope you're doing awesome today. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing a general reading for you. I've already cleared the energy of the cards and shuffled. I pulled 10 cards for a Celtic cross spread. They're just in 2 rows. It's just easier for me that way. And you have the Magician for the overall energy of the reading. Okay, Aquarius? Some of your cards came out upside down. That just means you're getting extra protection from Spirit. So let's get started here. Your first card that came out is the Magician. I can just leave that. Maybe I'll put it right here. So the Magician, it represents the overall energy of your reading. And this is a major arcana, came out upright. It's the second major arcana in the deck. This card is all about being resourceful, having, Spirit is saying that you have a lot of skills. This card represents someone who's asserting their will. You have a lot of ability, charisma, magnetism, skill, logic, intellect, wisdom. This is a card of willpower. You have a lot of willpower, Aquarius. You can manifest whatever you desire with the Magician. It's a card of mastery, power, being at the center of attention, having a lot of potential, being very creative, influential. It's a card of action, power, creation, psychic powers for some of you. This card is telling you to focus on your goals, okay? It's time to focus on your goals. Apply your determination and skill to achieve those goals. Everything you need is available and you have the ability necessary. So just move forward with confidence because you will be successful, is the message with the Magician, okay? You will be successful in your endeavors. It's a magical moment filled with potential, just waiting to be realized. When the Magician shows up in a reading, it can indicate latent powers that have not yet manifested. This card suggests that everything in the universe is available before us, and if we learn to use the energy correctly, we can manifest the results we desire. It's the task of the Magician to handle energy well, to manipulate and control it for beneficent purposes. The Magician is a card of power because it refers to how each of us creates our own universe. This card suggests that you have the ability to control your own life. If you can set intentions to achieve your goals, so long as you go about it the right way and for the right ends. This card is primarily about self-development. It marks the beginning of the road to spiritual enlightenment. You're able to control your universes, but in order to do so, you must learn how to reach your goals, whether they're spiritual or mundane. This card is all about new beginnings, new choices. You're willing and able to manipulate a situation to achieve a goal. This card suggests leadership potential, ambition, desire for action, and new relationships coming into being. The tools for whatever you desire, Aquarius, are already at hand, as is the knowledge for using them correctly. Evaluate them and use them properly, okay? you must learn to use your intellect, your intuition, and practical skills at this time. Okay, you assert your will. Take inspired action. It's a card of excitement, resourcefulness, concentration. And then your first card represents your current situation, and you have the Five of Swords, and it came out reversed, so extra protection from Spirit. This is you, Aquarius, showing up in your reading. So your first card represents your current situation. So this card, take however resonates, okay? It's a general reading. So the Five of Swords reverse could represent resentment. It could represent a desire to reconcile, reconciliation, a desire to forgive. It's a card of resolution, compromise, regret, remorse, cutting losses, making amends, past resentment, peaceful resolution, moving on, compromise, communication, being relentless, releasing stress, overcoming challenges, surrendering to challenges, ending conflict, not heeding warnings. It could also represent escalating violence, being held accountable, arrest, uncovered crime, humiliation, shame. Your losses have hit you hard. You're in a state of great unhappiness. You feel hurt, betrayed, angry, discouraged, but only you can pull yourself out of your misery. You may feel confused about why the crisis occurred, but deep down you know the reasons. You just don't want to face them at this time. Okay, this card could suggest an empty victory that was not worth the energy and the consequences. And then your second card is the Six of Swords. This upright, this card represents what's crossing you or what's challenging you or your situation, or it could be what you're celebrating. And this too is also a card that talks about moving on, leaving something behind, going in a change. It represents a change of direction, breaking free of old patterns. It's a card of transition, leaving something behind, moving on. It's your reputation is restored. It's a card of accepting lessons, going through a general change, a rite of passage, releasing baggage, healing. It could be some of you are taking a trip by water, going through a personal transformation. It's a card of departure, distance, respite, retreat. This card represents moving from rough waters to smooth. You're leaving a bad situation and heading toward resolution. And although you're headed in the right direction, this card reminds you to remember the troubles you've gone through and to learn from them. They're all opportunities for gaining wisdom. And maybe you've just booked a trip. This card could suggest a trip or a change of scenery. You're putting past troubles behind you. This card marks the beginning of a new phase after a time of upheaval. You've rebalanced yourself and are enjoying a new peace of mind. This is the calm after the storm, a period of smooth sailing with relatively few problems ahead. This is a time of integration or reintegration. Harmony and ease prevail. New people you can trust come into your life. After some intense suffering, you now feel optimistic and balanced. Again, this card could indicate a move or a journey over water. Luck is on your side, and any change you make, Spirit is saying it will go smoothly. And then your third card is the King of Swords reversed. This card represents the basis of your situation or foundation. This king is either you, someone in your life, or a situation, male or female, in a general reading like this. This is the King of Swords is represented by Aquarius, so this might be you. So King of Swords. Now let me just give you the full description of the King of Swords reversed, and I want you just to take what resonates and ignore everything else, okay? The King of Swords reversed is manipulative, cruel, but he also represents quiet power and inner truth, okay? Someone who's very powerful, but it's just quiet power. The King of Swords reverse could represent someone who's judgmental. There's a lack of structure, a lack of routine. He could represent an absent father. He could represent someone who uses their intelligence in a bad way. They're irrational, illogical, power-crazed, aggressive, a dictator, oppressive, inhumane, dishonest, controlling, cold, ruthless, cynical, violent, misguided. There's a lack of integrity, a lack of morals, a lack of discipline. He represents someone who's like feels like you're losing your head. This king indicates fickleness, using words as swords to wound, gossiping, superficiality, playing one person against the other, or rigidity of opinions. He can represent a situation in which the people around you are hostile toward your ideas or your spiritual quest, and you may have to keep these matters to yourself. This king may use his impressive abilities to further his own agenda, with no respect for ethics, standards, or ideals. He can be ridiculously judgmental and hold people in contempt if they don't behave or think as he deems appropriate or right. And then your next message is the King of Pentacles, upright. This card represents your past, but is relevant to your current situation. The King of Pentacles is represented by Taurus in the zodiac. So the King of Pentacles represents abundance, prosperity, security. He represents someone who's bettering themselves. Is not a risk taker. He represents someone who's thriving, has high status, is very self-reliant, ambitious, safe, kind, someone who's reaching their goals. This card represents hard work, paying off, okay? The King of Pentacles is someone who sees things through to the end, is sensual, encouraging, reliable. He represents a mature, grounded male or female in a general reading. He's successful, dependable, sensible, loyal, fair, honest, traditional, faithful, patient, generous, disciplined. He represents stability. He's humble. He's a provider. He's protective. He's supporting, patriarchal. He could represent a wealthy businessman. He's conservative. He represents wealth, business, again, leadership. This king represents a mature man or woman who is not only wealthy, but also courageous. He's a solid citizen, reputable, dependable, kind to others. He symbolizes worldly power in a positive sense. He's experienced in handling money matters. He's cultured, refined. He can provide reliable counsel on matters of money, property, and security. So he could be you or someone in your life, maybe someone from your past, maybe you. He's a leader. He could be a boss. You may be engaged in some worldly enterprise that will meet with success, is the message with this card. The King of Pentacles is practical, hardworking, steady. He's ruled by common sense and practicality. He loves the simple comforts of home and family. He can be very social. He can be a very social and welcoming host, inviting anyone who enters his home to share a meal. Although he enjoys the company of others, he is very self-contained. He likes to rely on no one but himself. He's generous with his money and resources, but never stupidly so. He's reliable and will always keep his word. He can seem to lack affection and is not one to share his feelings, even to those closest to him. And then your immediate future card, what's likely to happen very soon in your life, coming up very soon. You have the Three of Wands reversed. So extra protection from Spirit. This is Aries energy. So this card can have a few different meanings. Again, take how it resonates. This card reverse could represent a lack of confidence, self-doubt. It's a card of restriction, failure, being disappointed with choices or with an outcome, feeling frustrated, being haunted by the past. There's a lack of foresight. You might have to deal with some kind of obstacle or unexpected delays. It's a card of frustration, playing small, restriction, limitations, obliviousness, holding on to the past, failed long-distance relationships, a lack of progress, a lack of adventure, a lack of growth, failed overseas trade or expansion, disappointment. It could represent returning travels, moving home. Again, a lack of foresight, a lack of planning, loneliness, holding on to the past, obliviousness. Three of Wands reversed for your immediate future message. You're doing most of the work on an internal level, clarifying your needs and planning your sense of direction. You've resolved most of the problems connected to the situation or enterprise and negotiated the tricky parts. Now you can expect things to go smoothly when you go public, when you do go public with your ideas. But there may be a delay in the expected returns or perhaps responses that are not quite what you've hoped for. And then the outcome that you desire most in your situation is the Fool. So what you want: new beginnings, innocence, freedom, a free spirit, having faith, being spontaneous, a new cycle, a clean slate, going on an adventure, originality, a fresh start. It's a card of travel, courage, youth, openness, foolishness, carelessness, risk-taking. This card can indicate that you're at a crossroads. There are a variety of paths that you can choose, and Spirit is suggesting making an intuitive decision even if it seems illogical. This is a moment for faith and trust in yourself and in the universe. Follow your heart and embrace whatever comes your way, is the message that Spirit is saying. At this time, you're out of sync with the rest of the world, but in a positive way. You may want to go out on your own, full speed ahead, or you may feel isolated from the group. A loner, your experience of the current situation is different from those around you. You feel as if you're marching to a different drummer, and you probably are. Listen to the drummer, for this is the beat of your authentic self trying to get your attention. Okay? You're embarking on a new way of life. It may involve a physical journey, moving to a new place, starting a new job, getting married, or divorced. Often, the appearance of the Fool indicates someone who's beginning a spiritual path and has absolute faith in the universe. You have no fear and you feel that everything will turn out well. You may be in touch with the intuitive realm, or you may simply be naive about the future. This card represents a state of openness and faith that you'll be supported in your adventure. And then your self-image card, how you see yourself. You have the Five of Wands reversed. So extra protection from spirit. Okay, so how you see yourself. The Five of Wands is represented by Leo. This card is about depletion, avoiding conflict, respecting differences, end of conflict again. Spirit is mentioning that again. Trickery, litigation, disputes, cooperation, truce, release, harmony, peace, inner conflict, tension, avoidance are all represented by the Five of Wands reversed. You must change and adapt to different and difficult circumstances. New competition may be cutthroat, dishonest, or underhanded. There could be litigation to resolve disputes, and your public image may suffer. Don't get involved in questionable or risky practices at this time, and be careful who you trust. So I would definitely make a note of that, Aquarius, okay? Because they've already talked about your reputation being restored. You've already talked about, risky practices. So be careful with that. The Five of Wands reverse could suggest that this is a fight that you shouldn't get involved in. Assess your motives and competition before rushing in. And it could also indicate a competition that is less than honorable or one that turns ugly. Avoiding conflict, respecting each other's differences, end of conflict, agreements, truces, peace, harmony. It's also disputes, litigation, trickery, depletion. And then your environment, or how others see you in your situation, is the Three of Pentacles reversed. Capricorn energy, truancy, lack of group conflict, a lack of teamwork. It's a card of apathy, conflict, poor motivation, ego, not learning from mistakes, an unwillingness to learn, a lack of growth again, poor work ethic, a lack of teamwork, apathy, working alone, no determination, no goals, no dedication, no motivation. Apathy. You're not making the effort to acquire the new skills you need in today's changing marketplace. You may be stuck in a job you really don't like, but lack the confidence or ambition to strike out and change things for the better. Get going. Thought without action is useless. This card could also suggest that things are not going according to plan. Maybe you've taken on too much and cannot handle everything very well, or it can mean that you haven't applied yourself as well as you could have. And then your hopes and fears, what you hope for and fear the most in your situation, is the Page of Swords. Pages are messengers. So this is either you, someone in your life, or a situation, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. The Page of Swords reversed is someone who's defensive, someone who's blunt, abrasive, someone who has their head in the clouds, someone who's not speaking out. This is a card of malicious gossip, gossipy. It's a card of deception, manipulation, someone who's all talk, scatterbrained, cynical, sarcastic, rude. There's a lack of planning, a lack of education, a delinquent, someone who's cold. There's a lack of mental agility. They're paranoid. They play mind games. They're a player. They're defensive. Lack of planning, lack of ideas. It could represent bad or disappointing news. The Page of Swords reversed is someone who's having trouble getting it together. Although this young person is attractive, charming, eager, confident, clever, active, he isn't strictly on the right track. This page could represent someone who's sponging off others, maybe their parents or friends, or it could indicate someone who is bad-tempered or capable of spiteful action. Insecurity lies at the root of this person's actions. This page, male or female, still wants to know it all, but is more interested in knowing things that they shouldn't, or that others would rather they not know. They are not likely to keep any secrets, no matter how much they promise. And then your future, if all is to remain as is the Nine of Pentacles reversed. So the Nine of Pentacles is Virgo energy. This is a card of self-worth. It's a card of working too hard, hustling. It's also a card of lack of discipline, a lack of self-discipline, instability, a lack of independence, a lack of stability, a lack of security, a lack of self-discipline, being guarded, living beyond your means, obsession with work. Let's see, Nine of Pentacles reversed. This card indicates achievement, but it may not be as fulfilling. Either the means to the end was not satisfying, or you find yourself alone and lonely with no one to share your material gains. Your security is shaky. You may be dependent on someone else, perhaps a spouse or relative, for your financial well-being. Circumstances may have caused you to lose your independence. Figure out how to regain what you have lost. Okay? A lack of independence, marrying for money, marrying for money and or status. It's a card of instability, shady investments, overinvestment in work, termination, hustling, not earning your wealth. Superficiality, reckless spending, false success, someone who's cheap. It could represent reproductive issues. It's a card of failure, property damage, a con artist, scams, being guarded. So that is your reading, Aquarius. I hope you received some guidance, insight, some confirmation with these messages. Thank you for letting me channel them for you today. I'm sending you a really big hug, and I will see you next time. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.